Hey, this is Nico from Licks of the Beast, and in this video, I'm going to attempt to demystify the sometimes confusing intro to Iron Maiden's legendary opener, Aces High. I've seen the intro to Aces High played and transcribed in all sorts of ways, and while some do come close, I've yet to see it in a way that is truly 100% accurate. It never sounded right to me when I played it, and it's been a source of frustration for many years until finally, I decided I was going to take the time to figure it out properly once and for all. And now, I want to share my findings with you here. It seems that there are two main things that most of us get a little bit wrong, and those two things are timing and fingering. Let's start with the timing. Now, I'm pretty sure that Steve Harris wrote this part entirely by feel, and didn't really think about it too much. The problem is, once you start transcribing it, it gets a little bit confusing because the part is clearly in 4/4 time, and the first note is a pickup note with the accent placed on the 1. Which is where the second note in the pattern falls. This is all fine except for the very first time around where the accent is on the first note. And that seems to throw everyone off because the count doesn't make sense. Unless you add an extra 8th note to the first measure, making it a 9/8 measure with the accent on the first note of the pattern just the first time around. Then it moves to 4/4, where the first note of the pattern falls on the end of 4, and the accent is on the second note. So when you transcribe it, it would look like this. Now let's move on to the fingering. I've always seen Dave's part done like this. Or even like this. Or the same way all the way through, like this. And Adrian's part, I've always seen played like this. That never felt quite right to me. Now, I can't be 100% sure of this, as Iron Maiden have always let the original recording play as part of the intro, so I've never actually seen them play this section of the song. However, I did isolate the guitar tracks as much as possible, and I paid very close attention to how the phrase sounds for both the high and low melodies. I also took into consideration how Dave and Adrian play the next riff as a guideline. Dave plays it like this. And Adrian plays it like this. And finally, there's the question of what makes the most sense in terms of where the notes are on the fretboard. What is the most physically economical way of playing it? And that would be this fingering for Dave. And this fingering for Adrian. You'll notice Dave's part is a little busier as it follows the chord changes of the bass line, while Adrian just keeps playing the same thing throughout. So altogether, the intro would look and sound like this. I think it's worth mentioning that while the harmony is generally in thirds, it's not in thirds all the way through. There's a 4th and a 5th in there where Dave changes the pattern and Adrian keeps playing the same thing. And there's a major 2nd on this part here. Adrian plays a G sharp against Dave's F sharp. That dissonant interval creates tension, which is so important to this part. I always played it with a minor 3rd, an A, like this. And it sounded correct to me, but then it never sounded right with the song, and that's because it was missing the tension caused by that slight dissonance. Apparently, Steve Harris prefers this kind of harmony that isn't so straightforward and obvious, and it's clear to see why. It makes the part stand out so much more. And it's just so great to discover little things like these when you take a closer look at these classic songs. That's it for this video. I hope this was interesting and that for some of you, it might have helped solve a little mystery. Don't forget to leave a like and do consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you all so much for watching and stay tuned for more licks of the beast.